Hi guys, I'm Peggy here at From the Witch's Garden, trying to grow a cut flower garden on my allotment here in Kanagawa prefecture, Japan. Thanks for checking out my channel. Butterflies. Okay, if you watched last week's video, you'll know that there was a really big typhoon that hit and the garden was a mess. My amaranth had been knocked around, my cosmos was not happy, my dahlia was lying like this. So this is part 2 of that video, which is looking at how I fixed the garden and whether or not it kind of recovered. So I suggest that if you haven't seen last week's video, you go back and look at what happened, and this is the clear up video. Allotment versus Typhoon, part 2. Hey guys, I'm back, and I have sticks. Though the garden does seem to have self-corrected a little bit. It doesn't look as bad as it did the other day. So hopefully it's going to recover, but I've brought these because there are going to be more typhoon coming anyway, so it's better to be prepared this time. You can see though that while some of the amaranth that I tied onto just my poles that I put up for the netting have self-corrected and got themselves really tall again, there is still a lot looking very sad and not quite upright. So I am going to stake all of them, retie them on a little bit better than I did last time, and I hope that they survive and grow nice and straight for me, because they are right now leaning over onto my zinnia and my cosmos and kind of squishing everything that way. So I'm going to try and get them upright so that the other flowers can get a bit of a break from being squished by these giants. Mum's helping again. Okay, that is our amaranth all staked, nice and straight again. Mum dying behind me. So the last few days we have had quite a lot of rain. The tail end of the typhoon brought lots of rain with it, and it's been a lot cooler, saying that it's very hot now, but it has been a lot cooler, and the garden seems to really have appreciated it. Like you can see, the amaranth is above my head height now. It's got really tall. My cosmos have started to green up a bit more. I'm still worried by this stuff at the front, which looks a bit brown and crispy still. Very weak stems though. They're all kind of bowing under their own weight when the flowers actually come. I mean, the flowers are beautiful. I'm getting all the right kind of look to them, but they're very small and not very strong. But I'm hoping that as more and more come out over the season, that they'll get bigger and they'll get stronger. My dahlia has, I'm saying dahlia every time Mum says it, she says dahlia. It's kind of an unspoken war that we've got going on, whether it's a dahlia or a dahlia. I'm going to say dahlia. My dahlia has really quickly self-corrected. This was one that was basically horizontal. So I tied that up just to the stake that was already here the other day, and it seems to have corrected itself. Hello, beautiful big butterfly. I might try and get that bit to go up through the netting as well. And then the one behind me, you can see, is growing up through the netting and finally has some buds coming on it. I mean, they're really short. Now, I have been on other flower growing forums and following other people on Instagram and stuff, and I feel like a lot of people this year are having trouble with their dahlia. They're being really slow to start, they're being really short, they're budding up, but still when they're really short, or they're just getting really tall and then not budding. So it seems to have been quite a weird year kind of worldwide for growing dahlia. But I'm still hopeful that these ones are going to do something, and you can see the seeds that I put in at the back are actually coming up really strong as well. So hopefully I am going to get a flower, at least one flower, off of the, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21 plants that I put in. I might actually get one flower, which would be nice. Since I've been gone, the more sunflower have come out, so I'm going to have to deadhead again, take home any that are still okay to be put in a vase. Not gonna lie, I'm getting a bit bored of sunflowers in my house. They're everywhere.
As is the pollen.
As is the pollen, yeah, a lot of them are dropping pollen, but I've taken some pictures of that to show you guys. My last video that I put on YouTube was looking at harvesting my sunflower and then watching the vase life, and that covers quite a lot of the pollen drop as well. It shows you how much they're dropping. Another thing is, now that I've staked all of these, you can see how skinny these paths are. Here, I'll take you for a walk through. This is my path mark here, but you can see the flowers are growing well into the lane. But now that my amaranth is so tall, it is like going through a jungle until you get to the area where nothing grew. But saying that, it is doable. It's not the most comfortable. It's the same. Here we go. So here's the marked out for my sunflower. There's just, look at my teddy bear though. I mean, you do kind of have to push your way past. So I'm kind of glad that all the sunflower are out now before the other dahlia come up, because if I had sunflower on one side and dahlia on the other, I don't think I could do it. I can't actually get past this guy. I've got two giants kind of blocking the way here. So I can only make it halfway down this row before I have to turn around and go round the other row. So I think it's maybe time that I start cutting some of these sunflower back. I mean, I can't actually cut the sunflower if I can't get to them. And this guy's not for moving to let me past, and then there's another one there. So I might actually have to cut down some of these stalks, but look how much buds are still in there. Mum at the end! There's so many buds still on this one, I'm loath to cut it. So I might just deal with it. Yeah. There's a lot of weeding needs done in the garden today. I'm going to do that. And then that's about it. Cut out what's ready to go. I've got some of my zinnia over there. Now they were getting squished by my amaranth, as was my ami, so I'm hoping that they'll be a bit happier now that I've cut them back. But just general garden maintenance and then a little bit of harvesting today. The other thing that I'm a bit worried about is my gomphrena itself is doing great. Weirdly, half of them are coming out white. I don't know what's going on there. But they are completely shading out my aster, which were growing really slowly anyway. So I might see if I can try and tie them up or corral them or something to give my aster a bit more room to grow. And it's really annoying because what I put in the line behind them didn't come up. So there is actually a big space there that I could have put the aster in, but of course, you know, I didn't know what was going to come up and what wasn't. So that's what we're going to do now. A little bit of garden maintenance and some harvesting. Whew. So that's all the weeding done, and again, that was really easy, maybe 20 minutes. The weeds come out easily, they're not established. So, you know, a little bit of work, but not enough to justify the work that it would have taken to put down the weed cloth if I'd chosen to do that. So I think next year going on as well, I will not bother putting down weed cloth and just do the weeding by hand every once in a while. It's dead easy. So next I need to tackle these sunflower, take another harvest from them and deadhead what's gone too far. Okay, so these are the plum sunflowers that I took my first cuttings off. So these were the first one to go to flower, and they're looking a bit sad. I think these guys have come to the end of their run. They're still putting up a few buds, but I think I'm going to cut these down quite drastically and just say that's the end of them. I'm not going to lie, they weren't what I was expecting. I thought they would be a really dark, not even a really dark plum colour. They were kind of a peachy plum on the packet, but they just didn't seem to ever do that. They got, here's one I just cut. They were more like yellow with slightly plum centres, and that's not really what I was after. I wanted a really dark looking sunflower. So I don't think I'm going to do these ones again. Now I don't know if it was just the seeds that I got or if it was the growing conditions that these didn't go as dark as I thought they would. But they're a bit blah. They look a bit washed out. Even when they're just coming through, they already start to look a bit washed out. So not my favourite. I don't think I'll grow those again. So these are the plum. On the other hand, you can see my teddy bear, which were the last ones that I planted and put in, are all coming out now. And I love these guys. They're so cute. I really like those. And I'm going to have a lot to cut today, so I think I'm just going to have a big vase of teddy bear sunflower when I get home. But yeah, that's the last of these plum. This was the miscellaneous row that I planted, so I do have some more plum down at the other end, but they're coming out the same as well. So that's it. These are the first ones that I'm saying this is the end of the season. They're not putting out anything else, so I'm going to cut down these stock. Okay, so these are my Valentine sunflowers, and these are a little bit awkward because they seem to want to put up lots of flowers on one stalk, and often the buds are really close together, and that makes it quite hard to decide when to harvest them. So if you look at this one, for example, so that head's already gone, but then the two are coming up behind it. So if I'd cut for that one sunflower, I wouldn't have got these two little ones coming on, because they seem to put their buds out very close to each other. So you either have to take one big flower and one big flower with lots of buds still on it, or you have to wait for the big flower to go and then cut the two little ones, or you end up with the big one on a very short stem. And again, these aren't as big and showy as I like. They're very subtle. I mean, they look nice with a collection of others, but again, one that I don't think I'm going to grow again next year. Just a bit blah. Yeah, not my favourite, a bit blah. So I don't think I'll grow this one again, because it's hard to harvest it on long stems and it's not overly interesting. Sorry, Valentine. Look at that. So this one had actually fallen over into the next allotment because it got blown down in the wind, which is why it's at such a strange angle. This is one of my Velvet Queen, and again it puts out lots of buds but very close together, so you've kind of got to choose when you're going to cut it well. Obviously this one is way too far gone and this one's not opened yet, so you end up with some on really short stems, or having to cut off a lot of the buds if you want the bigger one. Is bee o'clock. There are so many bees on these flowers. But again, this is the really tall one. It's shading out a lot of my garden and it drops very easily, and this one has a lot of pollen that it drops as well. This isn't one of the F1s. The F1s are the ones that have been bred to not have pollen in them, the Pro Cut series. So these are not those. These have a lot of pollen that they drop. So again, it's tall, it's quite impressive. This is one of the bigger flowers. I do actually like the orangey colour of this. I think it'll look nicer if I can make it last all the way through to September and October. I don't think it will though. But again, one I don't think I'm going to grow again. Sorry, dude. Yeah. Okay, so that's us for this week, I think. The garden is looking a lot tidier. My amaranth is all nicely staked. It's still a bit bent, but I'm hoping it'll straighten up on its own now that it has the stakes in there. My sunflower over here have mostly been deadheaded. And I have another massive box of sunflower. I think I need to buy another box to take stuff home with, because this one is pretty chock full. I've got a few zinnia in there, but there weren't many zinnia for me to take this week. It's gonna fall over. So yeah, it looks like I'm having another massive big vase of sunflower. My Gomphrena is looking really good. My Verbena is looking really good. My Verbascum is not looking good at all. It's been shaded out by the sunflowers and it's just not liking it at all. My Ami's looking good, but I'm going to leave it to get bigger before I cut any more off of it. Not because I think it needs it, but because I don't want to cut it all and then when I have my nicer flowers come through, to have used it all up already, so I'm just leaving that for a bit longer. I think some of my poppies came up and have already gone. The petals have fallen from them before I even saw the flower. They are still on really short stems, but I'm not so worried about that. Some of them were the bread seed poppies, which make the really nice poppy head, so I'm just going to leave them to do their the seed head. So I'm just going to leave them, and maybe I'll get some nice seed heads from them, which is basically what's happened with my Nigella down here as well. It's not growing up. It doesn't seem to be genki. It's genki. Happy, strong. What's English for genki? Genki janai. It's kind of not got the strength in its stems to be holding itself upwards. I've tried to kind of knot it through the netting today to mosquito to see if it will come up, but a lot of it's already gone to seed pods as well, but that's fine because they're really cool little stripy seed pods that I like anyway. I have pushed my gomphrena all over to one side. I don't know if you can see that here. I've kind of pushed it all that way, hoping that it gives my Chinese aster down here a bit more room to grow and fill out and be a bit happier in there, because I really want to see what they do. They are putting on height, they're just so slow. Do they always go this slow? Anyone that's grown these before, can you tell me, do they always go this slow? And that's about it for today. My dahlia seed that I planted, you can see, is coming up here, and I've got my second row of zinnia here. When I come down next time, I'm going to bring some of my compost tea to go in them and give them a little bit more nutrition, and just see if I can get nicer zinnia than I'm getting this time. But that's it for this week. Thanks for checking out the channel and following along with me. If you like what you see and you want to see what I end up getting, we're getting close to the end of the season. I'm not sure if I'm going to get any dahlia at all, which will leave me heartbroken. But if you want to follow along, remember to hit the subscribe button below. Bye! Say bye, Mum.